Well, personally, trying to find a job, that's a struggle out there, especially for a girl.
Before I started working at McDonald's, it was very hard to find a job. I applied to a lot of places and nobody ever got back to me. The places that I did apply for, either they weren't hiring or I wasn't old enough, so that kind of discouraged me.
They don't even look for teens no more. They look for people that's more higher, 20, 30. So then where do that leave, like the people where do that leave the teens?
I think that when it comes to job applications, there's so many people that apply that you're often going to find people that are more qualified than you.
When I fill out job applications, I call them non-stop just to like confirm that they got my application or to see where the process is at. And like, I guess cause I'm a lady of color, they want to answer me late, and I feel as though I don't deserve to be answered late if I was the first one that applied for the job. So it's difficult to get a job at a young age.
Well, I've been taught it's not what you know, it's who you know. So the knowledge is there as well, but there's a couple people I know who got a job just by knowing the person that works there.
Sometimes I feel like you do need connections to get a job because in a job application, it'll tell you how did you find out that they were hiring or they needed someone, and you could put a person that works for them and gets the job quicker.
Well, with me, my personal experience with finding a job was that I actually known somebody in order to get the job, and I feel like it shouldn't be like that because everyone should have an equal opportunity at employment.
When I go in facilities and I look around, there's mostly Caucasian people working around, and then I look at myself as an African American working, and I'm like, where's my race here? I don't see anybody around that's my color.
There's so many like stereotypes about Puerto Ricans that I feel as though it's gonna affect what people think of me.
A lot of people place the connotation on people of color as if they're lazy and they're good for nothing, they don't want to do nothing. But it's hard for someone that wants to do something to do it if they aren't given the proper resources, and there are barriers put in place to keep them held back.
I think my race plays a role in me trying to get a job too, because now, you know, the quote-unquote young black man is all criminals, and they don't got a nice work ethic, they don't get along with others, and now, like, well, nowadays you need people, jobs, and employers want people that's like in a team. Like, it's all about teamwork now. And how can you get a job if the only status you got is not being a criminal?
The employer oftentimes has various perceptions, misconceptions, as we've already talked about, as well as there is a sense of not really oftentimes trusting the fact that that person in front of you, particularly that person of color, will provide the kinds of expertise that you want for that particular job.
So in the media, they play a certain role on young black teens, young minority teens. So then, you know, all the employers think when they see, you know, when they look at the race on the application, because I don't understand why they have race on the applications in the first place. It don't make no sense. When they look at the race and they see a young African American, a young Latino American, and then they just think, oh yeah, he don't have the best work ethic. He's probably a flash mobber. You know, it messes up in the long run.
The system of jobs and employment is not set up, and has not historically been set up for people of color to have the type of opportunities that others enjoy.
I think the education system plays a huge role for preparing people in the job market, because we're sent to school to learn things that are going to benefit us in our future endeavors, and I feel like if we aren't being prepared properly, how are we going to ever get a job?
I think the media probably can play a better role if they actually show the good things that, you know, that we actually do. The young students who really do try to succeed in life, and the young kids who really try to work hard, and the young teens that really just try to, you know, help out their family. I think that would be better, and I think they probably have a better chance of being employed.
Given the barriers we face, it's important for us to be extra prepared.
Sometimes young people do not go to the actual job interview or do not pursue the job in a way that provides a professional air that gives them at least an initial step to be hired.
Here are some tips to remember when applying for work.
Make sure the email address you use to contact an employer is appropriate. The same etiquette at an interview extends to all correspondence. Always state your name and reason you are calling. Be short and precise.
Always do research on the company or organization you're applying for before you enter the interview, so you have a better understanding of what the requirements of the company and or organizations are.
At the beginning and the end of the interview, make sure you give a firm handshake. During an interview, maintain appropriate eye contact. Speak clearly and professionally, not like if you are speaking to a friend.
Always ask 2 to 3 thoughtful questions at the end of the interview.
And lastly, be confident.
Employment is important for young people of color because we're really, like, our generation is really the future, and like we're being dependent on to change the world. So if we're not given the proper tools to make these changes, how can we make the change?